I'm Joe Reel,
And I'm Peter Gill.
and this is Two Men Talking Movies.
Say what again? Say what again?
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Get off my plane. Here's Johnny. Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Good day, sir.
Ever dance with the devil in the pit? I am your father.
Beats. We can kill it.
The first rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club.
Two men
Talking movies.
Why do you have the microphone up your nose?
It's like rested on the top of my top lip. So it's rested between that party.
You said breasted.
It's rested between that part of my nose and my lip.
You been watching any of the Olympics?
No. Let's open up with the show. Ready? Welcome to another episode of Two Men Talking Movies. I'm your host, Joe Reel.
And I'm the other host, better host, Peter Gill.
And what episode you were saying? This is episode 7.
This is episode 7.
Episode 7.
Lucky number 11.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
11?
11. Isn't there another movie called, is there a movie called 7?
Yes.
Isn't it about sins or something?
Yes.
I think.
Have you never seen that movie?
Colin, who's in that movie?
It is Morgan Freeman
Yes.
and Brad Pitt.
And Brad Pitt. Colin Farrell isn't in that movie?
Nope, Kevin Spacey.
I like that movie. I know I'm butchering all of the actors in it, but
It's
really
a
liked
really
it.
good movie. I also think that who was the girl who played in? She was married to Chris Martin from Coldplay.
I don't know. I have reached my data
Shallow
cap.
Hal. She was in Shallow Hal.
Oh.
I don't
No.
know. I can't think.
Shallow Hal.
Yeah.
What a stupid movie. Oh, man. I can't look up anything else. I'm
I
reached
know,
my
I'm
data
doing it.
limits on my.
I'm doing it right now.
Yeah, because you won't give me your Wi-Fi password.
I don't. I'd have to like go.
How long
into-
have we been? How long have we been friends?
I'd have to go into the
And you're not giving me your Wi-Fi
Gwyneth
password.
Paltrow. That's what I was thinking of.
Gwen.
She's in that movie. Yeah, I would have to go into the router and like shut this all down and go look it up right now. So.
Okay.
You know,
Fine.
like, do you know how to log into routers?
Can we
from
put that
computer?
on the agenda for next time?
Yeah, I can do that when we end tonight. I will do that.
Okay.
So speaking of Wi-Fi passwords and stuff, have you seen how like people sometimes put their Wi-Fi name as like FBI van or number 1 or
No,
have you never seen that?
I don't try to steal other people's internet.
I think it's pretty funny. That way when you're looking for Wi-Fi, you see that pop.
I always ask for their
Like,
password.
what? There's an FBI van.
No,
It's pretty funny.
I don't.
Or you can name your Wi-Fi network like get your own Wi-Fi. That'd be funny.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So anything new going on in your life this week?
Yeah, I recently went up and saw a friend in Richmond, and he's a podcast listener, like all great friends are.
Of this podcast?
Yes,
Oh, cool.
and he also listens to a lot of NBA podcasts like me.
Is that why you mentioned him? Because he's a listener of the podcast?
That, and he kind of gave me a little bit of grief for the story I told a few episodes back about meeting Nate Parker. He said I didn't talk it up enough or give enough detail, and so I apologize to him for doing that. And
So you want to elaborate on that story?
yeah, I think I probably should, because I came from college. Kind of the home situation was a little bit up in the air between my dad and mom and grandparents, and so I needed a place to stay. So Kenny, my boy, since high school, played basketball together, said that I could chill at his place for like a month and a half with his family. And his family was having a huge family get-together for Christmas. And his cousin is famous director, actor, producer Nate Parker. And this was I think it was in 2011 or maybe 2010. 2011. I think it was 2011. And no, definitely 2010. Definitely 2010. And Nate was there staying in the house with the rest of the family because Miss Penny and Kenny had a big house at that time, and they gave me a room all to myself, which was very, very nice when other people, family members, were like staying on couches and
Wow.
sleeping together.
But they gave you your own room.
Yes.
That's nice.
And I think Kenny was actually, his mom was staying in his bedroom with him, and I just got my own room by myself. So I walk in, and I think a Cowboys and Philadelphia game are on. And Kenny's family's African American, and I walk in, some white guy with some nasty suitcases and luggage, and I like set myself down. Everyone just kind of immediately looks at me, like up from what they're doing, and I'm like, wait, who's this guy? And all I could get out was, I'm Kenny's friend, and Miss Penny said I could have a room.
That's what you said?
Yes.
Why?
And they said, Miss Penny's upstairs, and I just pointed upstairs and just walked upstairs.
Weird.
And got in my room, and I think someone was trying to put their kid down or feeding their kid or something. I'm like, I think this is supposed to be my room, and she left, and it's pretty awkward. But by like the time Kenny got home, I was there with everyone else watching the Cowboys-Eagles game. I came in, and Kenny said I was yelling at the TV with everyone else and slapping. It was great. So I was stuck in Kenny's house. We had this huge snowstorm that came in that was like almost to our waist in snow, which is huge for this area. So I was stuck in a house with Nate for about 6-7 days, 8 days, just playing chess, checkers, bones, watching movies, doing all kinds of stuff. And he's a pretty cool guy. He really is. They definitely treated me like family, and it felt like family the whole time I was
That's
there.
nice.
Yeah. He's a really cool guy. I don't know if he ever remembers me. I know if someone said, hey, do you remember the white guy who stayed with you guys during Christmas? He would definitely remember me, but if I called him up, he'd be like, yeah, I guess so. So, anyways, cool guy, fun times. I'll never forget that in my life. So there, Kenny, I did it for you.
There's your
welcome.
shout out.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And in another reference, Kenny, you need to talk to your cousin about coming on the show.
Yes. Give Nate a holler. Say we'd love to talk to him about his movie. Get a inside scoop. That and other movies he's done. And we'd love to have him on 2 Men Talking Movies. I'd like to talk to Nate about what he's doing. Like, that man is just a hustler. I mean, he just gets after it. He works hard.
Well, are you going to ask me about my week?
No, it's nowhere near as fun as mine.
Wow, that was rude.
What's your week been up to? What have you been doing, huh? Not editing podcasts since we botched our...
yeah, since we botched our 2 we talked about on the last episode. I've been trying just to kind of get in the last couple days of me time. Before the big...
Sounded extremely childish.
Before the big... like my life going to... I don't know, I'm just going to be...
Are you still going to do our podcast in film school?
I hope so, yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait.
I hope so.
I hope you get a lot. I hope there's a lot of synergy between film school and this podcast.
I think so. I think it'll actually fuel this podcast. I was looking through some...
All I got to do is get you motivated, and we've got nothing stopping us.
I was looking through some of one of my classes, which is the aesthetics of film and television, and
Okay.
it's basically like a look at the filmmaking world, and we're gonna watch a lot of films that have been influential throughout time. And I was looking through the list of movies that we're gonna watch, right? And so one of our objects in this class, one of the things we're supposed to do, the projects, is that we get these movies we watch and we write a article about them. Not really a review, not a personal review, but we just kind of break down the movie and talk about it and turn those in. And so I was looking at the list of movies we're going to be watching, and one of them that popped up on there was Interstellar. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one that scared you. About time?
Yeah, not scared me, but it kind of tapped in on my
Fear of time?
my fear of time. I thought it was...
Don't watch The Little Prince, then. I know I mentioned it in our last episode, but don't watch it.
Yeah, movies like Benjamin Button. Yeah, don't do well with stuff like that.
Just break down in tears.
Yeah,
Opening scene.
definitely. Yeah, so it's going to be exciting. There's a lot of old films on there, too, that I've never seen, like Metropolis. I think think that was in 1920s, 1930s.
Really?
Yeah, really old movie. Then other stuff on there that I'm like, why are we watching this? Like Moulin Rouge.
You don't like that movie?
I wouldn't say I don't like it. I just don't really care for it.
Okay.
Another movie that was kind of similar to that I actually liked was Chicago. Did you see Chicago
No.
with
Oh,
Catherine Zeta-Jones?
Yes, yeah.
And
no, I didn't see it, but I know which movie
yeah,
you're
yeah,
talking
I
about.
like that one. That was kind of like the same, like a majority female cast musical of like performers and stuff. Like I really like that.
Okay.
Moulin Rouge was okay though.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah.
It's all right. Okay, well,
so
I
that's
hope
about
you're.
it. So I'm
are
just-
you enjoying your me time, or are you hating it? Or
I'm enjoying it, I guess.
what does me time consist of? Eating fruit snacks?
Me time consists of me consuming stuff that I like. So food, right? Food that I like. Watching all sorts of movies and TV shows. Playing Xbox. I said last episode I've been playing a little bit of Xbox, trying to get some of that in before I go slave to the game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Spending time with Rachel.
as you can see in this room, I've really
You're not spending time with Rachel. You didn't mention.
I am. No, yeah, we've been spending time together. That's gonna be another thing too. It's gonna be hard. Is my schedule is gonna be Monday through Friday work from 7 to 3:30,
Work,
and then
work.
school
Then I go
from
to
like
school,
4:30
school,
to
school.
8 or 9.
Then I hear this song.
So yeah, it'll be rough, but
Yeah, wow.
gotta
okay.
gotta do what I gotta do, you know.
Yeah, gotta do until you can do better.
Yeah. Cause I'm.
Can you like bring a friend to class on some days when like special speakers?
I don't think so. You could probably lie and go in there and say
Whoa! No one said anything about lying.
and say that you're a student and see how long it takes them to realize you're not. Just say my name's still not on the roll. I don't understand.
Oh
Just-
man.
Yeah.
I'll go to student services after the class.
Just keep coming in and see what happens until eventually she's like, I'm not allowed to let you back in here.
Turns out I earned a whole half a credit before the teacher found out I didn't even pay to come in. I mean, I could probably do that for a bit. Sometimes those professors are oblivious. Depends on
Depends how big the class is, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep, so that's been about it for me. And as you can see, I finally got my box of, what would you call this? Panels of
I don't know. It's
fiberglass.
It's right next to all your junk.
Yeah, this room is likely we don't do video yet because it would be pretty embarrassing.
Nah, we're gonna get there.
We are going to get there, but I'm trying to treat this room so the audio quality will sound a lot better in here.
Yeah.
And then I'm also
Listen.
gonna decorate and paint.
I need to bring over some of my prints and stuff. We need to hang some stuff up.
Yeah,
So when we do go live, and we
it'll
got
look
our-
nice.
Oh, can Rachel do our makeup?
Maybe.
Yes.
Is that what you want?
Yeah. I want to do makeup for Facebook Live.
Do you
Yeah. For sure.
powder yourself up a little bit?
Have you seen this 5 head that I got here?
Mm.
I need some makeup on that solar panel.
A 5 head, yeah. I wouldn't say it's a 5 head. It's not that
pretty
bad.
darn close.
No. At least you don't have these calyx like I do. I mean, they feel like they just keep going farther and farther back.
Yeah. All right, so now we're gonna get into bum ba bum 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 ba bum 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 bum. Trailer trash. Check it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was waiting for you to say something interesting.
Oh, like real time?
Yeah.
Is that all you hear anymore? I feel like you're pretty conceited about your segment.
No, because my segment I have to go read to do the homework for because it's actually work. For your segment, you just watch trailers. So. I mean,
I spend more time watching. At least I watch all my trailers. You don't even read all of your articles.
I don't need to read them all. I just need to get the hot topics off of them.
All right, so you just read the subject line and read 2
and then
paragraphs
make
down.
up the rest.
All right, now is this independent in UK.com/public/. So we got here. Okay, you can't smoke in movies anymore. Nope, that's not it. can't show smoking in movies anymore.
We actually cut that one out, so I never said that one.
Darn it. All right, so Trailer Trash, we got nothing but comic book movies up on the docket today. And that was an executive order from the top down. So Joe, who kind of controls the podcast, decided that we were only going to do, he kind of decided what I was going to do with my segment today. So if you don't like it, feel free to write
To
him
email.
hate mail.
Email us.
Yeah, email us at twomentalkingmovies@gmail.com and then specifically mention
Subject
Joe.
line.
Subject line, Joe, stop controlling Trailer Trash. Let Peter do his thing. Let me be free. All right? I need my listeners to go to bat for me. So first up, we have Justice League. This was an exclusive San Diego Comic-Con premiere of Justice League. And me and Joe have our own feelings about this trailer and about what Warner Brothers is doing in general with the DC cinematic
Our own
universe.
so, like our separate feelings? Is that what you're
Can I
saying?
just finish my opening? Can I finish? Thank you. So in this trailer, we're getting introduced to Aquaman, The Flash, Ben Affleck's recruitment. He's also as Batman. He's also a recruiting officer for the Justice League, and we also get who's this guy? Cyborg.
Cyborg, yes.
Yeah, Cyborg. And so he's going around recruiting all these guys, putting together this Justice League or this team. I don't really think this movie should be called Justice League because the Justice League had so many more characters in it, and it was more of an organization than it was just a ragtag bunch of superheroes. You know what I mean? But that's just my feeling on it. So we're seeing the first glimpses of this team coming together, even though we haven't had the backstories on a lot of these guys. And I think it looks okay for a trailer, but I've been fooled by DC before. Your thoughts, Joe?
Yeah, I want to be hyped on this movie. I really do.
Oh yes, I want to be so hyped.
But I don't know. You know what I mean? There's no telling.
Fool me once.
I mean, we're about to get into some more of what DC's been doing with their movies, but I mean, right now, other than the Batman trilogy, and Watchmen, I would say they really haven't done anything great. They've done some stuff that's good, but not great. Other than that, right?
Right. Well, I think a lot of that's the directors.
Yeah, but I also think that Warner Brothers is too involved with. I think they micromanage too much. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
some of this is a little after flavor, but since we're recording this episode so late, we've already read a lot of articles. I mean, a lot of this is coming in afterwards.
I mean, there's
or
a
some
lot
of
of
our
stuff
opinion
coming
on
out.
this,
Yeah,
on
there's a
this
lot.
trailer.
There's a lot of stuff coming out, and throughout this episode, we're going to be talking.
Yeah,
about
this is
it.
basically a DC flavored episode.
Yeah.
Real Time is going to be DC flavored, and
The
we're
review
reviewing-
is a DC
Right.
film, Suicide Squad.
So if you just hate DC,
a lot of my news is going to be there's going to be some DC articles. So.
yeah. So if I'm not telling you to turn the rate and subscribe, definitely. But if you don't like DC Universe, you might not like this whole episode. But
Or they
that's-
might. It depends. It
Yeah.
depends on if we're going to glorify DC or if we're going to
Who knows?
chastise them.
Who knows? So Justice League looks pretty good. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I don't think it looks awesome.
Aquaman looks cooler than I thought they would
Oh
make
yeah,
him.
Khal Drogo.
Yeah.
My man.
Yeah, he looks cool.
My man. The beast that rides the world.
It just looks like a movie that could possibly have some really flat jokes. Did you get
Yeah,
Get that
I
vibe?
don't know if I'm sold on Flash yet. I'm not sold as Ben Affleck being a funny Batman when he kind of reacts to a lot of this stuff. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. Also, Wonder Woman's in this. So, which brings me into my next movie trailer. Second movie is Wonder Woman.
It's kind of close. Not really though.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
Haven't really worked on my Wonder Woman theme song yet in the shower. I'll get there. Also a little rusty. End of the day. A lot of talking today. A lot of meetings. So Wonder Woman looks better than Justice League, would you say? I like the era. I like the World War I era that they're throwing this movie into. I also like in this trailer. It shows a lot of off-world content, and
It almost had like a Indiana Jones vibe to me. It did. Like some of the scenes with the horse, like they were riding the horses.
yeah,
There was like a scene in one of the Indiana Jones movies. I think it was The Last Crusade where they were on horses, and then how kind of like you have these World War II jeeps, and looks
Oh,
like there's
yeah.
some Nazi play in there and stuff like that.
there were no Nazis in World War One though.
Oh, you said this is World War One?
Yeah,
Oh,
so
I just said World War II. I thought it was World War II.
no, it's kind of set in World War One. So Wonder Woman looks good. I think it looks better than Justice League. Hopefully, we get a little bit more backstory.
I agree with you on that. It does look better than Justice League.
Yeah. Next movie we got up is the newest Doctor Strange, not in the DC universe, but also still a comic book movie.
And we did talk about a Doctor Strange teaser
Yes.
before. This is actually a full trailer that they released.
Right. So this trailer looks to be good. I'm a big fan of Benedict Cumberbatch. I know I've said this multiple times on this podcast. I really like him. Got sort of a man crush on him a little bit. He's either one of those guys you love or you hate him. I loved him. I love him. So this movie looks really good. It feels like, I've said this before about this movie, it feels like Inception meets Marvel.
I did get the Inception vibe with the buildings flipping over.
Yeah, the world's colliding.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
This looks like it's going to have a pretty good plot line, and I think that this is going to have a lot of good character development, unlike some of the other Marvel movies. And I think they're giving a little bit of that away in the trailer, which is good.
I hope so. I mean, this is a fresh character that not a lot of people know about. I only know about him through I think I watched one of the animated Marvel movies of Doctor Strange a long time ago. I don't, other than that, I don't really know a lot about Doctor Strange. I guess his power form is magic, right?
Yeah.
So is this the first time really that we're going to be seeing magic introduced to Marvel? Have they had any? Or no, I guess they had Scarlet Witch, right? Her power was magic, or no?
Yeah. Well, no. Would you consider some of the X-Men Marvel? Because isn't there like a what's that guy who throws the cards?
Gambit, but that's more of like he can charge them with something. I don't know. I guess that's what I'm saying. Like, what's really considered magic and what's? I guess this is the first time that they're really, because I mean, magic does, like, they can kind of explain all those other things as powers. Like,
Right.
it's like this is just like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Right. It's a power.
Yeah.
Like I just do this.
Well, there's no real explanation for it. Like, like
No, but Doctor
They-
Strange is like saying is it making people disappear or card tricks.
that's what I'm saying. He does whatever he can do. Like, he does a bunch of stuff, right?
So is it power or is it magic?
It's magic.
Where does it stop becoming power and start
Because
becoming magic?
he doesn't. As far as I know, he wasn't like born with it. He learned how to do all this, right?
Oh, well, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. I guess we'll have to figure it out.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to see this movie first weekend. Next up, we have one of my can't wait movies, which is Rogue One. Very few times do I have a movie where I just can't wait to see it, and I'm looking forward to it.
The last one was what? Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants 2?
No. I was wondering where you're going to go with that. No, actually, I've never seen those movies. But no, Rogue One is one of those, I can't wait to see this movie. And they just released a new trailer for the Olympics. So the last one we talked about was a teaser. This one looks like a more full-on trailer. And to me, it looks really good. I think the settings look really good. The shots look really good. There's this shot of a Star Destroyer. No, not a Star Destroyer. Yeah, a Star Destroyer coming out of the shadows of the Death Star. And that to me was just an epic shot. And there was also this shot of someone shooting a rocket launcher at an AT-AT.
Yeah.
And its head like twisting. It
Yeah,
took me
that's
back
cool.
to my Battlefront days. And
Back. I thought you're still about.
I'm still in it deep.
Okay.
I'm in it deep. I'm still in Battlefront. I know that game gets a lot of hate, but I'm into it. So, what'd you think?
I liked it. I think it looks better than Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Not that Force Awakens was a bad movie, but this just looks more interesting. I guess it's because it's all new characters, right?
This looks a little bit more urban too.
Yeah, like what I wanted from Force Awakens was a fresh story, but they played too much on cameos and like, hey, remember this character, remember this guy, remember this guy.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they might do that more in this movie. Though. That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
Vader was.
Yeah,
on
they showed
very
Vader
end.
at the end of the trailer, right? Yeah,
He didn't even breathe out.
yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. It looks more interesting though.
Yeah.
I do.
How do you feel about the stormtroopers storming the beach? To me, that feels a little unbelievable. I know a lot of people think that looks great, looks amazing. Like they're walking up almost like Caribbean water.
Yeah.
Do you feel that looks a little unbelievable? Like it looks a little too real, or I don't know how I feel about that shot quite yet.
What do you mean? You don't think that would happen?
No, it just doesn't feel right. The setting just doesn't feel right to me for the stormtroopers storming a beach. But what else would stormtroopers do other than storm a beach? I guess I don't know.
Yeah, and you got to think. I mean, if they're getting dropped in through some kind of aircraft into the water, and then they're coming up through the water, you know. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that setting yet. To me, it just doesn't feel believable. Like it, I don't know. Like
Yeah.
it seems out of place.
I think you're overly analyzing it. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think it's actually cool. I think it's neat that they did that
okay.
because it almost you can relate to it because we've seen so many times that's storming the beach of Normandy, and we know that vision of troops coming up out of the water and running towards land.
Right.
So it's relatable.
Yeah. I guess in a galaxy far, far away and a long
Yeah.
time ago, they still do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Huh.
So one thing I do like about this movie, though, is I'm a huge fan of the director, Gareth Edwards. He did his first film was totally shot guerrilla style with him and like a crew of 3 or 4 people and 2 actors, and they would as they were filming it it's a movie called Monsters. I think you can find it somewhere out there. They were going along and
Is that anything to do with monsters in a truck or monster trucks?
no.
Okay.
Definitely not. But no, they filmed it in South America, and as they were filming, they were basically making up the story as they were going. They'd be writing it, and they would come along to locals, where they'd find a place. They're like, we want to start shooting right here, and there'd be some locals there, and they'd be like, hey, do you guys want to be in this movie? And they'd get them to go sign some forms, and then they would just act. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he did that movie, and then right after that, he did the most recent Godzilla movie, the U.S. one.
You like that movie?
It was okay. What I didn't like about it was that the trailer led me to believe it was something that it wasn't. Yeah,
Yes. I thought the first 30 minutes of the movie were great.
Yeah,
because
the whole movie, you think one of the characters is going to be in it,
Yes.
and he's only in it for the beginning.
Right.
And then you're like, oh, this is a totally different story than what they have.
So which character in this is not really going to be in the movie?
Well, I
based
don't
on the
want to
trailer?
say that. Oh, in this movie?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I hope they don't pull that.
But
But I think that was
it's being pulled a lot in movies.
I think that was the trailer, the company's fault who actually cut for the trailer.
Gotcha.
I don't think that was anything to do with
yeah,
the filmmakers.
could be the director.
Yeah. Yeah. What else you got for us?
That ends our segment of Trailer Trash. I
Oh.
think we covered quite a bit, from Justice League to Wonder Woman to Rogue One. I thought it was all. I think it's going to be tough to beat in real time.
Yeah. Well, I have
You're up.
I have 5 articles
5?
today.
Sheesh.
5 news articles. The first one has to do with our last episode we released with the Ghostbusters movie. So this comes from I guess is the website Breitbart.
Breitbart.
Is that correct? Breitbart.com?
Yeah.
Ghostbusters director Paul Feig, F-E-I-G. How would you say that?
Fag.
Paul Feig.
Fag.
That's what we're going to say. Paul Feig says he'll never reboot another movie.
Oh, good. Thank God.
So according to Breitbart, how'd you say that?
Breitbart.
Breitbart. When asked during an interview with the Huffington Post if he would be rebooting if he would be rebooting any other well-known movies, Feig pretended as if he had no choice in the matter, saying, No, I will not. This one was just too tempting because I knew we could do something with it that was exciting. The drama around the film, both on and off set, mixed with its poor reception from the audiences, may have something to do with Feig's decision. On set, reports claim that McCarthy and Feig fought on multiple occasions in relation to the direction of the film, and that Kristen Wiig actually asked for her writing credit to be removed from the film so that it would not damage her future career opportunities. If that doesn't sound like a recipe for disaster, then what is?
Yeah. Yeah. I would agree with all that.
That's pretty crazy. I didn't know the bit about Kristen Wiig.
Yeah,
that's
she's smart.
that's-
She's smart.
That's,
Not smart
that's
enough
brutal. That's brutal.
Not smart enough to not be in the movie, but smart enough to take her name off of it.
Yeah, I didn't even realize the McCarthy thing. Did you know that she was fighting with the director?
No, I didn't know that either. It's just, like I said in our last episode, and I haven't seen that article. Melissa McCarthy's character didn't feel right. She felt kind of tired. It didn't really feel like she ever believed in her character. So, yeah, I guess I'm not surprised by any of that. I think everyone's going to want to forget this.
Yeah. Like we said in our last episode,
Forgettable.
It's a bland, forgettable movie. The next story comes from Yahoo.com. Wonder Woman director responds to claim film is a mess. It's entirely false.
Please stop with this, please.
Wonder Woman director Patty Jenkins is speaking out after an anonymous letter from someone claiming to be a former Warner Brothers employee wrote the film was another mess for the studio. In an anonymous letter to Warner Brothers, CEO Kevin... These names, man.
Just say Kevin.
I'm just going to say Kevin.
Kevin.
His name. His
Kevin's
last
all
name
right.
is spelled Tsujihara.
Tsunami.
Sujihara?
Tsunami.
I don't know. So I'm just going to say Kevin.
Sushihara.
Published Friday on... I don't know this website either. Good grief. Why do people keep naming stuff so bad?
Fox? Is it Fox News?
Pajiba?
Okay.
Pajiba? The writer details how, in the author's mind, the studio made a series of missteps leading to 2014 layoffs. The writer also has harsh words for Justice League director Zack Snyder, blaming him for the divided response to Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, and claiming his work is costing people their jobs. What are you even... so this is what the writer wrote in the anonymous letter.
Anonymous, yeah.
What are you even doing?
What are you
I wish to
even
God
doing?
you were forced to live out of a car until you made a #1 movie of the year. Jeez. Maybe Wonder Woman wouldn't be such a mess. Don't try to hide behind the great trailer. People inside are already confirming it's another mess. It is almost impressive how you keep rewarding the same producers and executives for making the same mistakes over and over.
I got to hand it to Warner Brothers. They can hire a great trailer company.
They actually can. They put out some good trailers. In a series of tweets Friday, Jenkins, who was the director of the movie, Patty Jenkins, responded to media coverage of the letter. Whoa, just saw the press about Wonder Woman having problems. Are they serious? This is some made-up BS right here. Made up.
What is BS
Produce a
stand for?
source, anyone, she tweeted. You can't because it's entirely false. Don't believe the hype, people. Someone's trying to spread some serious misinfo.
Marvel. I bet it's Marvel. I
Do
bet
you
it's.
think it is?
Oh yeah.
I don't think they really have to take a shot. I think Marvel's move right now is just to sit back and watch this.
Unfold.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, we've bought into worse conspiracy theories. Come on, it's got to be Disney.
Jenkins went on to say, let me reassure you, zero about the movie we are making has been called a mess by anyone in the know. Fact. She continued.
I mean, that could be
Real-
some makeup artist. You know what I mean?
I know. The real lasso of truth, time. We reveal that letter to be false soon
Wonderful.
enough. But lame, something so transparent in its agenda gets traction.
Man, I want to follow Patty on Twitter.
I actually want to follow her too. I think it's really funny.
I mean, it's an anonymous letter. I think the culprit's Disney or Kim Jong-un from North Korea. Could be him.
I think it's a fan maybe that's just mad and wants to.
Could be some makeup artist who lost her job. Or I mean, it could be someone who was legitimately fired.
No, I
writing
really
some
think
hate
this
mail.
is either someone on Reddit or someone from.
Someone on Reddit.
Yeah, somebody that wrote
All else fails, blame Reddit.
came up with this idea of, hey, let's write a letter and act like we're an insider and maybe, because it worked, obviously, whoever did this. If it is real.
4chan.
4chan, yeah. 4chan has a history of doing stuff like this. All right, so the next 2 articles I have actually come on the heels of your Rogue One trailer.
Okay.
The first one is a little sad. We're gonna
Riding my coattails again.
pull
I
the
see.
pull the
What?
I said this next story is a little sad. We're gonna bring it down a little bit for this. Lucas and Hamill lead tributes to Kenny Baker, Star Wars R2-D2 actor.
Yeah.
Baker made his name as the robot in the first Star Wars film in 1977, along Anthony Daniels' C-3PO character. Oh, and by the way, this comes from bbc.co.uk.
Oh, okay.
Lucas said Baker was a real gentleman, and Hamill, who plays Luke Skywalker, said he had lost a lifelong friend. Born in Birmingham, Baker's other films included Time Bandits and Flash Gordon. Did you ever see Flash Gordon? Flash! Ah. Queen did the theme song for it?
No.
Oh, good movie. Lucas said Kenny Baker was a real gentleman as well as an incredible trooper who always worked hard under difficult circumstances. A talented Voldervillain?
Huh?
Voldervillain?
I don't know, man.
I don't know what that is.
You gotta work on your phonics. It's all that homeschooling. I really hope your mom
There's no
isn't listening.
definition found for this. I don't know what the word is.
Okay.
Vaudevillain. A talented Vaudevillain. What does that say?
Dude, I don't know, man. If Apple can't define it, I don't know who could.
Yeah, it must be a British word. A talented vaudevillain who could always make anybody laugh. Kenny was truly the heart and soul of R2-D2 and will be missed by his fans and everyone who knew him. Pretty sad. You're a big Star Wars fan. Did you take that news pretty heavily that he passed?
Oh, that sucked. I didn't really know how great of a guy he was.
Did he do R2-D2 in the most recent film?
I think he was a consultant. I don't know if he did it.
Okay.
I think if you look at the credits, I think someone else is credited for R2-D2.
Hmm.
R2-D2. Yeah, that really sucks because I think that's the first of the original cast that's passed away. I think the guy Anthony Davis, right, is C-3PO.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, you have the other original cast members. I think all of them are still alive. I know a lot of some of the producers and artists and writers have passed away. But, yeah, from everything that I read about Kenny Baker, he lived for the fans and the fan experience. He loved being with the fans. He knew that's what made him. And he loved the role that he had played in Star Wars, which is... some of the other characters kind of walked away from some of that. So your Harrison Ford kind of like shied away from Star Wars there for a little bit.
Yeah.
And only really came back to kind of finish his role, played as Han. So I always love when actors kind of own that role and owe the debt that they have to their fans, and they go to the cons and they do all the autographs, and because that's hard work. And a lot of actors don't like to do that mess.
Yeah.
They just like to show up, play the big screen, and don't really go to any of the conventions. So yeah, it definitely sucked.
So the next story I have comes from independent.co.uk. Star Wars Han Solo film has Donald Glover as first choice for young Lando Calrissian.
Love it.
You love this.
I love it.
Nice. During Star Wars Celebration in London, the directors of the Han Solo film, Phil Lord and Chris Miller, spun an incredible tale on how they landed their new Solo. Alden Ehrenreich. The pair auditioned nearly 3,000 actors, but it was Ehrenreich who eventually won out, having ironically been the very first actor to have stepped in the room. Now with the announcement, Solo would be joined on screen by a younger iteration of his famous associate Lando Calrissian. It's natural to wonder whether the casting process will be quite as lengthy. Which is why it is interesting to hear that Disney has already been circling around a first choice for the role, none other than Community's own Donald Glover, also known as Childish Gambino.
They probably don't want to come out and say that he has it yet, just for whatever reason. They might not say that, but they want him to clear his schedule.
Yeah, I would agree with that. They're making sure that he can do it. Yeah, I love Donald Glover.
Yeah, I like that. That's pretty cool. Him in Community is just
Yeah, he's
so funny.
he's one of the few actors who is doing a lot for his career. He's an actor. He's a writer. I think he's done some producing, and now he's also an artist, a musical artist. He's known as Childish Gambino. He's a hip hop artist.
Really?
Yeah,
Huh.
and his music's really good.
I'm interested to see their
Were you surprised that they didn't cast Chris Pratt? Did you think
as
that?
Han Solo?
Yeah.
I think he's
Or
too
you think
old.
he's too old? You think he's too
Yeah,
old?
for sure. I was really scared they were gonna pick that kid from Walking Dead,
Who?
the little whiny one.
Really? Were they talking about him?
Yes, he was consideration for it.
Wow, no, that would have been a terrible cast.
Oh man, I would have just.
You're talking
punched my
about
face.
Carl,
Carl.
the
Yes.
kid with the cowboy hat.
Yes, Carl.
He seems way too young.
He seems way too awful.
Yeah, and he's not really funny enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. There's just
He doesn't have that witty humor.
They were thinking about him as one of the favorites,
Wow.
but I've never really seen this guy Alden's performance. I'm going to watch it for sure. I'm going to go watch one of his movies now.
Hail Caesar.
Yeah, I'll probably watch that.
Yeah,
Sure.
I wanna see now too. That's funny. He must have made a huge impact on him.
Yeah.
And
They said he was the
keep
first one that
yawning
walked
in the
in.
mic. Yeah,
He was the first one that walked in, and they just
yeah,
said,
first one that walked in,
Oh,
and
that's
out of
great.
3,000 people, they chose.
Oh, that sucks for the rest of this 2,999 people.
That's the end of real time, and that brings us to our new segment, which is rental of the week.
Rental of the week.
And I got a movie for you today, Peter.
Oh boy.
I got a movie. I watched it the other day. This came out.
I feel like I came out hitting with Little Prince. That was pretty.
You did. I have yet to watch that. I still need to go watch that. But
Wow.
I will watch that,
You
and I
don't
want you to watch this.
You don't even take my own suggestions.
You got to give me time. You got to give me time. So the movie I want you to watch and our listeners to go check out is called Z for Zachariah.
Oh, okay.
So this film, I came across this. This is on Hulu. You can
Is
watch.
it anything like V for Vendetta?
No, this is on Hulu, and there's actually not even a character named Zachariah in the movie. The whole film has a total of three actors in it.
Okay. So 10 Cloverfield Lane.
It's got Margot Robbie, who's in Suicide Squad. We're about to talk about. She's
Uh-huh.
in it, and it's got the guy who plays Captain Kirk in the new Star Trek.
Chris
movies.
Pine.
Chris Pine, and it also has the guy who played in 12 Years a Slave. I can't think of his name. He's got a long name.
I know who you're talking
You
about.
know what I'm talking about. I think of what his name
But
is.
I don't think our listeners do.
Well, go look at 12 Years a Slave, and then you'll see who he is.
Why do I always have to be the intern? I have barely any data left. I got like 10 days before my data renews. I don't got like 15 gigs of data like you. And you still haven't given me your Wi-Fi password. Jerk. Which guy are we talking about here? Chiwetel.
Yep, that's his name. What is his name?
Oh man, I'm gonna butcher this. I like him too. He played in Martian. Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Yep.
Ejiofor.
So this story of
Ejiofor.
this movie is
So that's the three people.
three people in the whole
That's
movie. it.
solid.
Yeah. And so I want to say this too. It's some of the best acting I've seen in a movie. I don't know if the story was that great, but the acting was amazing, which made up for everything else in the movie. The setting was good. It was a great movie. I really liked it. And it's like a post-apocalyptic scene.
I'm a sucker for those movies.
Yeah, and it's kind of you're watching three people and how they are coping with this scenario of what happened. They don't really tell you what happened, but it's something to do with like nuclear fallout and war and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's this area in the mountains that they come. The character, the guy's name you were trying to say.
Ejiofor.
Yeah, he comes
Ejiofor.
up to Margot Robbie's has this home that's up in the mountains that was basically shielded from all the radiation somehow, and
The J might be silent. Ejiofor.
yeah. But it's a very good movie. It's very interesting. Kept me on the edge of my seat. Great acting. Great
Were
writing.
you really on the edge of your seat, or were you just tense?
Well, I was laying on the couch, so I was tense to be technical. So
Okay. Get the case of the yawns.
no, I do. I'm trying not to yawn in the mic.
But you'll breathe in the mic.
Yeah, so you can watch it. For those of you who have Hulu, you can watch this on Hulu. If you have a Hulu subscription, it's up there. You can also rent it. I don't know if it's on Netflix. It might be on Amazon if you have Amazon Prime.
Okay. Cool. I look forward to seeing it.
Yeah.
I like all those people.
Yep. So that brings us into our review of what? Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad.
Yeah. The best thing that I think I can say about this movie is that
Joe, you want to give us your opinion, your non-spoiler opinion, and your score? Give us one word. Give us your non-spoiler review, and then give us your score.
give you one word.
One word. One word. One desire.
Awful.
Okay. Now go to your. You know the deal. Keep going.
Keep going. Awful. I would say that this is one of the worst movies I've seen this year.
Okay.
Like we said before, DC has a great. I don't know who they're getting sourcing out to do their trailers, but the movie was almost. It was almost like. It was. Which this makes it sound like it would have been good, but it was almost an extension of the trailer, but in a bad way. Like all the good thing. Actually, they took out a lot from the trailer that wasn't even in the trailer, but it was just a terrible movie all around. All around, it was the story made no sense. The acting was okay. Margot Robbie did an amazing job. I loved her as
Harley Quinn.
And everything else. I don't know. It was just. I sat in the theater, and 20 minutes in the movie, I was done. I could tell. I was like, if this keeps going like it's going, like I almost wanted a refund. I almost wish I wouldn't have seen this movie. That's
Okay.
that's how much I hated this movie.
Okay.
And what's weird is that all right. So this movie comes from David Ayer, who did movies like Fury, End of Watch, Training Day.
Fury was good.
The
Fury was
original
good.
Fast and the Furious. Yeah, a movie called Harsh Times that I love with Christian Bale. So he does kind of like these gritty crime dramas. That's
Yeah.
like his thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, man. It was just this. I don't know.
You can't really think of why you hated it.
No, I can think of a ton of ways. I can't do it without really spoiling anything.
Okay.
But I would give this movie from. So first of all, what I can say about it that won't spoil it is the writing was atrocious. It made no sense. The movie constantly contradicted itself. The special effects were ugly, terrible. Like I'll get into it later. There was a specific scene which looked like something that I could have made up right now, and not even knowing what I'm doing. Or someone could have done like on their iPhone or something. It looked brutal. Like it looked really bad. And then the characters themselves were just kind of shallow, and there wasn't a lot to them. The cinematography wasn't all that great either. It was kind of bland, boring. I didn't really like. I mentioned when we did the Ghostbusters review, I said I liked the colors in it. This movie, I didn't like the colors at all.
You didn't like the colors?
I didn't like the color scheme. Like I think when you're shooting a
So
movie,
you
the
kinda
videography
hated
and
everything about
cinematography.
it?
What?
So you just hated everything about it.
Yeah, it was just
There's no bright spot.
there was nothing besides Margot Robbie. That was the only thing I liked.
The plot
And
wasn't
I think everyone
completing-
wants to know too. What did you think about the Joker's performance? I didn't like, and we'll get into that in the spoilers. But
Okay.
on my 1 to 10 rating that we like to give, I would give this a 2 out of 10.
Gosh.
1 to 10 scale, I'd give it a 2.
A 2.
And
Okay.
that's Margot Robbie. I would say would be the only thing that would give it that too. I probably would have lowered it that if it wasn't for Margot Robbie.
Wow. Wow, you didn't really hold
I would
back.
give Margot Robbie's performance an 8 out of 10.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and I would give the movie a 2.
Okay. All right. My turn.
Yeah, go ahead, take the wheel.
So
Jesus, take the wheel.
Peter, take the wheel. Give it one more shot. All right, dead shot. I'm gonna stick with the A's, words that start with A. All right, you said awful. I'm gonna say average. All right. I thought the movie was fun. I thought it was enjoyable.
That doesn't start with an A.
No, that was my one word.
Oh, one word. I thought you said
My
you wanted
one-
to stick with words that said. Gotcha.
So my one word review is average. Okay. This movie was fun. It was enjoyable. The plot wasn't horrible. The plot was just like any other comic book movie. I thought Will Smith did a great job, but I'm a Will Smith fan. I like his one-liners. I know they're cheesy, but it's Will Smith. I thought the villain was believable, just as believable as other villains would be in any other comic book movie. And I thought Harley Quinn did a great job. I thought there was a few things lacking in the movie. CGI could have been better. The shots could have been better. Some of the script could have been better. But I had high hopes for this movie, like Deadpool level high hopes. And this movie really just didn't do it for me. It was average. So there were some things I didn't like about it, some things I thought were pretty fun and enjoyable. The action scenes were a little too I don't like when they're so I like wide scoping action scenes. These were a little too narrow for me. So a lot of it was cut out and it focuses on like punches and reaction and things like that. So yeah, I thought this movie was average. I wouldn't really set it apart from most other comic book movies, in my opinion. My score would be, since it's average, giving it a 5.
5. So that would bring it down to.
That's like Ghostbusters level.
Is that 3.5 out of 10?
Yeah. It's only that low because you're giving it an absurdly low rating.
It's because
You're being unjust and unfair.
I am being very just on this movie.
You
Probably deserves lower than what I gave it. I was being gracious.
Why don't you just give it what you really believe it is then?
Negative.
Okay.
Because I want it wiped from the face of the earth.
Wow. You just
I want this movie to never existed.
okay.
Because the reason I say that is because this movie was made, the chances of it getting remade,
Keep it spoiler free.
the chances of this movie getting remade is a long way off, right?
Right.
Because that's what I want right now. I want it remade because it was so bad, but I know like I'm at least not going to get that for 10 years.
Why do you want it remade?
Because, like you said,
What external forces are going to want to make?
I
remade
had
it?
so much hope for this movie.
So
I was
did I.
more excited for this than Batman vs Superman.
Oh.
And as
I think everyone thought Batman and Superman, and we were like, they're not going to mess this up. And
yeah. So
messed
we
it up.
saw Batman vs Superman, and with that, before we saw it, reports were coming out that the movie was terrible. And so when I saw that, we talked about that. My view of the movie, my prejudice of it was already low going in, right?
Mhm.
And so when we actually watched it, I was surprised. I was like, it's not as bad as everyone
it was
said.
average. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. And I actually enjoyed it more than I thought I would. And so I guess I kind of came in with that same mindset into this movie, right? Before we saw it, I think 2 or 3 days before it was released, reviews started coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And they were all, looking like Batman vs. Superman. I was like, oh, great. It's another Batman vs. Superman where it's all the critics are tearing it apart. And so I started seeing some user reviews, too, where people were saying, well, I wouldn't say user reviews. I would say, I guess, the layman reviews, right?
Right. Like
Just Everyday Joe's reviews.
Yeah.
The viewers' reviews, yeah. And people were saying that it was actually pretty good. So I was like, well, I guess this will be like Batman vs. Superman. So I went in and was totally disappointed because I think that the critics were actually pretty just on this one
Okay.
and spot on.
So this kind of ends our spoiler-free.
And so, well, before we do this, would you, real quick, suggest people see this in theaters?
Would I suggest people see this in theaters?
Is this worth a $10 ticket?
This is a very closed-ended question because I would only suggest this for someone to go see this movie in theaters if they really wanted to see the movie.
I wouldn't go see this if someone was paying for you to go see this.
Okay.
Don't go watch it. It's a waste of
If
time.
you wanted to go see this in theaters, go see it in theaters. You're going to enjoy it. It's going to be fun.
Don't. If you like Suicide Squad and
Gosh, you are just
you want to see this movie, don't go.
your
No,
hate for this is unjust. Yeah,
because
right.
I'm trying to help people out. If you want to go see this movie, don't go see it because I wanted to see this movie, and I'm saving you the hurt and disappointment.
Okay. Well,
So just pretend it doesn't exist. Go read. I will tell you this: there is a new Justice League, or not Justice League. There's a new Suicide Squad comic that was released based on the characters of this movie. Right? Suicide Squad was a comic book series that the movie was adapted from. Well, now there is a comic book that is based off the movie,
oh my.
and the comic book is actually, from what I hear, way better than the movie. So
Oh, okay.
go check that out.
All right. Well, this ends our spoiler-free. If you want to listen to the hot-headed Joe Reel and not go see the movie, then I think you're doing yourself a disservice. But if you want to listen to more level-headed,
And how could these people who don't want to listen to a spoiler review, how can they help us out?
they can. If those of us, for those of you who haven't seen the movie yet, please either share this podcast when it comes up on our Facebook, or retweet it, or rate and review our podcast. We would really, really appreciate it. And from the bottom of my level-headed heart, I want you to do that for us. And we will start giving people shout-outs at the beginning of our episode for rating and reviewing us, if you could do so.
That would be cool. Let's start doing that. Reading reviews of the
Yeah. Just encouraging ourselves. We'll read the negative ones off air.
yeah. Oh, I'll read the negative. Do you want me to start with a negative one?
No.
Okay.
So we will start giving people shout outs and thanking people for those of you who rate and review and share our stuff. And if we know who you are, then we'll try to tell a story about you and how you impacted us.
So are you saying that only our friends review this podcast?
Probably.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, it is. We'll get there, though.
So this is the part of the show where if you don't want to hear any spoilers, you can turn it off. Or if you want to hear what we want to really say about this movie, you can continue listening.
Yeah. Have a good week, guys.
Tell me something, my friend. You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? What? I always ask that of all my prey. I just like the sound of it.
So for those of you who stuck around, I'm taking the gloves off. Bare
Okay.
knuckle. I'm
All
going
right.
in. I'm going
Whoa.
in.
Beat him back to the white meat.
So as this movie opened, Peter, the beginning of the movie actually wasn't all that bad.
Oh, what?
The beginning of the movie wasn't that bad.
The beginning of the movie was probably the worst part. It was some of the lamest writing.
No, because the introduction of Amanda Walker
Okay, yeah.
was good. I felt that was where I was like, oh, this is gonna be good because she's actually doing a good job. Amanda, I'm sorry, not Walker, Waller. Amanda Waller. I said Walker. Amanda Waller was actually played by Viola Davis, and I've seen her in a couple things. She was in a TV show called Murder. How to Get Away with Murder, right? Did you ever watch that? I think it was an ABC show.
No.
She also played in The Help. Did you watch The Help?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, yeah, she did a great job at portraying Amanda Waller. Amanda Waller is the mastermind behind Suicide Squad. She's the one who created this outfit of renegade, school of hard knock,
Villains.
yeah, who basically go in. And what the Suicide Squad really is it's this group of people who are on these life sentences who she grabs up, and she basically gets them to go out and do these missions for the government, these covert ops missions, in hopes that they will be able to successfully achieve the goal of these missions. But if they don't, if they die, then she's not connected to it at all, right?
Right.
She has like a fail-safe where they'll
Right.
she has
Oh, they were the problem.
yeah, where they're the problem, so they can take the fall for whatever happens. So say if they have to go assassinate a president of another country, and our government's the one who's sending the Suicide Squad out, if they get caught, she can immediately kill them herself.
Plausible deniability.
Yeah.
That's what you're looking
Well, she can also kill them herself with they have detonators in their necks.
Right.
And so she can kill them off, but also they'll take the fall for whatever happens. So they're villains already. So people are like, oh well, this guy was just a villain anyways.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's a great setup for a story, right? For a movie, good setup.
Yeah.
So this is
one positive note.
So this is where the movie nosedives. Oh, and I also did you like how the whole tie into Dawn of Justice, Superman versus Batman?
Yeah.
That was cool. How it's kind of like they're talking about how Superman is dead.
Yeah. They're staying in universe.
Yeah. It's the same story. I liked how they kept it in that universe.
That's another bright spot.
Yeah, of how because they're talking at the opening where Waller's talking with some generals, and she's talking about how Superman is now dead and that they're worried about, well, what if we have another one of these of people who can basically just go AWOL and do whatever they want.
Right,
She said we got lucky with Superman because he wanted to help us. But
and so we need some type of team that's going to defeat him. Which I thought was a pretty good premise.
It was good. And then so what did you think about the whole backstory, quick quips of everybody?
It really didn't build the characters for me.
It was too quick.
Yeah.
But in a way, I know that they had a short time frame, right? They're not going to make a 3.5-hour movie and give you background of everybody. The one thing I didn't like about it, though, was when they showed the little things in writing.
Yeah, those were. I don't know why they put those there because
you couldn't read.
I was
them.
so focused on listening and watching that I didn't have time to read.
Well, they were up there for 3 seconds, and you hadn't. I don't think any viewer could actually read what they said.
I thought the writing at the beginning when all the characters were introduced, I thought that was a little weak. Like Will Smith's Deadshot's first insult fell really flat, which I think kind of carried the tone for the rest of the movie. But he was like, what did he say? I'm gonna go Holy Ghost on you, or I want to rain fire on you like the Holy Ghost or something.
Yeah, one of the things I wanted. So before this movie came out, watching all this come out, when they announced that Will Smith was going to play Deadshot, I was excited, but also I had a little bit of worry that he was going to play Will Smith and not this character Deadshot.
Are you not a Will Smith fan?
I like Will Smith, but I don't like when he goes all Will Smith. So I liked him in Independence Day. I like him in Men in Black. And those are movies when he goes Will Smith. But
Pursuit of Happiness is pretty good.
Pursuit of Happiness was really good. That was probably, I think, his best serious role. I didn't see Concussion. Did you see that?
No.
Oh, okay. I know people said he did a good job with that movie. But I didn't want him to play. He kind of plays the same character he always does, which is
he adds
the
his
Fresh
own flair.
Prince. I feel like he plays the Fresh Prince in everything he does. You know what I mean?
Well, he's got the same looks. He's got the same flair.
It's the same comedy. It's this.
Well, he brings his he brings his character to the character that he's playing.
Yeah.
And so a lot of that goes into a lot of the characters that he's played over and over again. So I appreciate that. I like that.
But
I think every other
he's-
character does that. Meryl Streep, to me, does that. I feel like Meryl Streep plays a lot of the. She has a lot of the same. A lot of the same feelings.
Her character's the same and pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel that, but she gets a lot of Oscar nominations, right? She's won quite a few of them.
Yeah, she has, but I mean,
I feel like their own character comes out in the characters they play, their own spin.
See, one of the things that I really appreciate in acting is a form of acting called method acting, and we saw this with people like Christian Bale when he played The Machinist or in The Machinist, and then when we saw the last form of the Joker, which was Heath Ledger, and even Jared Leto supposedly did this with the new Joker, was that they get really they try to become the character they're playing, right?
Daniel Day-Lewis does this all the time. He doesn't break character on set.
Yeah, they stay in character when the cameras aren't on, and they try to really just become this character for the time of the film, and I feel like Will Smith doesn't. I mean, not that everyone should do that, but I feel like Will Smith does the total opposite of that, where he walks in as himself, and he just acts like himself. He does. I don't feel like he gets into character at all.
I think the
I feel like I'm
role-
seeing Will Smith, and I'm not seeing Deadshot in this movie.
So would you say the same thing for? I would say the same thing with Samuel Jackson. He kind of walks in and adds his own flair to every character. It's kind of the same.
Right, but these are like those are you're naming actors and actresses who are iconic for that. Like who that's what people seek them for. I don't think people go after Will Smith because they want the Will Smith.
So why would you want to bring him in as Deadshot if you didn't know he was going to throw his Will Smith flair on it?
I mean, maybe they did. I don't know, but I'm saying
Same thing with Men in
that's- I don't-
Black and
like people grab Samuel L. Jackson and put him in a movie because of he goes all Samuel L. Jackson and see if
because they
Samuel
like his
and
character.
Samuel L. Jackson if he said something like I'm gonna rain down fire like the Holy Ghost, like that would be a hilarious line if he said that, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean I think this happens across. I think a lot of actors do this, and I kind of like Will Smith's flair.
A lot of actors do this, and I can't stand it.
Okay.
But and so one of the examples.
So you wanted him to become Deadshot?
Yeah, I wanted I wanted to see a serious Deadshot, whose only reasoning for anything.
That would have been a very cold character, though, amongst a lot of other cold characters. So the Killer Croc was a very cold character. There wasn't a lot of personality.
The thing with this movie is that almost every character in the movie was a comedic relief, right? And that was pretty much the extreme opposite of what we saw with Batman vs Superman. Batman vs Superman was a very serious movie, and the only really comedic character we saw in that was the villain, which was help me out here.
That guy's name, I just know.
Not the actor. What was the character's name though?
Freaking the bald guy. What's his name? Lex Luthor.
Lex Luthor, yeah. And so it was almost like he had like a joke. We talked about that in that review. He had like a
Will Smith wasn't just comedic relief. I mean, he had some comedic relief, but he also had some serious moment.
he had some serious moments in the film, but I'm saying I wanted him to be all serious. I wanted him to be this guy who was
That's what Lieutenant Flag. Make sure I say his name right.
Flag.
Lieutenant Flag. That's what his. I mean, he was all serious.
I mean-
Waller, all serious.
What I wanted to see from this movie
Leto, all serious.
No, Leto wasn't serious. Margot Robbie.
His character was like, okay, yes, he's the Joker. It's a joke, but like at very few points did he ever like make a joke.
I don't know.
There were a lot of serious characters. Enchantress, serious. Dr.
Enchantress
Jones,
was serious.
serious.
Enchantress was serious. And so was Waller. And so Flag wasn't all serious. There were some parts where Flag had some one-liners of the one I remember with Will Smith was when he's shooting. He goes, "Now that's gangsta." I mean,
That was his
it's
character.
cheesy though. It's so cheesy, and it's like it's not like.
So
see,
you wouldn't
it would
say
be
any other comic book movies are that cheesy?
Oh no, there are, and I've said this about. This is one of the reasons that I have a hard time with Marvel movies because they do the same thing. They're overly.
But you're not giving them twos.
I didn't like. Well, Captain America was actually made sense in a story. I didn't really like it, but it was.
This didn't make. Oh goodness.
Well, we're gonna get into that. So the
Okay.
characters. So Will Smith,
We're getting off here. Sorry, ladies. and
Deadshot,
gentlemen.
and like Margot Robbie. She did an amazing job. I can't really critique her on anything and say that she could do anything better. I think the best of what I wanted.
The only thing I wish was that she had a different outfit.
I don't understand why you're on this outfit thing about.
I
talked about this
I like the red and black jumpsuit.
But you do understand that Harley Quinn has had multiple outfits.
Yeah, but I always remembered.
But they showed her in the iconic red.
You
and black.
had some things the things that you wish they would have changed. I would have liked her in a red and white or red and black jumpsuit because I could have worn that for Halloween. Duh.
But that's not even.
I can't wear her current outfit, not without scaring half the neighborhood, and also getting kicked out of Halloween parties. I can't wear Harley Quinn's outfit.
But so you wanted to see her in that old like animated Batman cartoon
Yes.
outfit?
Yeah, I think that'd been cool.
But wouldn't that kind of been out of place? Wouldn't that have looked weird though? It's like a jumpsuit. It didn't
Yes.
fit any of the rest of the movie.
So what? It's Harley Quinn.
Yeah, but they're supposed to look like this rugged ragtag like. That would have looked too.
Schoolish,
No,
childish.
it would have looked too like. It just didn't want to fit the movie.
Okay. They couldn't have like made it skin tight and with holes all in it. Yeah, I think they could have.
No, I mean I get they could have had the red and black theme, but like the whole jumpsuit thing.
Yeah,
It's a little ridiculous. That's a
they
little
could have
ridiculous.
put some holes in it, made it a little skin tight, made it a little risque.
Maybe I like the thing she had in the what was the shirt she had? It said "Daddy's Girl" or something like that.
Puddin's girl. I did
Daddy's little menace or something like that. Oh, it's
I
pretty
don't know.
funny. I liked it. I liked everything about her. I liked the whole get up and everything. I think they did a great job.
Oh, okay.
Killer Croc. So Killer
That was
Croc.
weak, very weak character.
Very weak.
Same
Was
thing
all
with Boomerang.
was Killer Croc. So from the comic series, there was actually a character called
Here we go.
called King Shark, which I was actually kind of happy they swapped out Killer Croc, because to make this more, I guess they were going for a more
Grungy.
more realistic. Even though like they gave this view of Killer Croc as like a deformed person, right? He was a circus act and
Right.
like kind of was grown up in the circus as this individual who was told he was like a crocodile, and so he almost became like this. He was like a product of what he was raised as, right? That's
Right.
what I think he was. So King Shark in the comics was like this dude with a shark head that was like half shark, half man. It's kind of didn't really make any sense, but
Works in a comic book, not in the movie.
yeah. But I was hoping that they would almost still kind of keep his intense, because King Shark in the comics is always just like grabbing random people and biting them and eating them. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So I was hoping to see. I mean, we saw a little bit of that with Killer Croc when he was in the prison and he would grab guards and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But his character was kind of bland. Or did you get that?
I just
feeling?
didn't. He didn't get much screen time.
He didn't get much screen time, and then the time he did, I felt it was cheesy. The BET,
Yeah, stereotypical.
yeah, it was just cheesy. Like,
I didn't really care for. I didn't understand Boomerang's role in all of it.
yeah, I felt
The
like,
fact that he can throw a boomerang and maybe handle some knives like Edward Scissorhands.
yeah.
I didn't really.
His Captain Boomerang, yeah, I think he comes from the world of the Flash. He's a Flash villain,
Okay.
and yeah, I felt
My
like
one power is I can throw a frisbee.
I felt like his character wasn't fleshed out enough either. Let's see, they had Katana, the girl with the sword. What was her name? Katana Girl, is that what they called her?
I don't know. I think Cortana is Halo.
Yeah, Cortana, but Katana is a Japanese
Kotana?
sword.
Kotana.
Remember her? It would steal the souls of people she killed. I felt like her character wasn't really fleshed out a lot either.
Some power. Yeah, that sword killed her husband.
El Diablo.
She talks. To me.
What did you think about El Diablo?
I liked it. I liked El Diablo.
I liked how he looked. I like how he.
Essay.
Yeah, I didn't like his backstory. And I'm gonna compare this to the comics too.
Oh my!
I did read a
gosh.
couple of these comics before I talked
Yeah,
about this.
yeah.
A couple of them.
I remember in a very recent episode you talking down to those who read comics and critiqued the movie.
Well, I talked. I don't like. I appreciate when people, for instance, like the director of a movie takes his own spin on stuff. So I do appreciate that, their creativity. But I think it's okay to say that you prefer something over the other. I wouldn't say it was wrong that he did this, but I would say that it was. I think he could have been more effective with the original backstory.
just so we're all straight here, it's okay to say a movie is great because you read the comics, but it's not okay,
What?
it's not okay to say a movie is great because you read the comics, but it is okay to say a movie's not good because you read the comics.
No.
'Cause that's essentially what's happening here.
No. My original comment, which you were referring to, was back at the Civil War review.
Right. You're like, all those people who read the comics and say this is a great movie, you don't. It's hard for you to understand how hard it is to make a movie that makes sense to those people who don't read the comics.
Yeah. My argument there was right. It was about because the argument there was that the filmmakers expected you to already know about everything that was going on walking into the movie.
Okay.
Right. That's not is all what I'm talking about right now.
What you're saying is okay to say a movie is okay because you read the comics.
What I'm saying right now is that I prefer the origin story in the comics more than I do the movie. It has no correlation or anything to do with whether the comic anything to do with the comic versus the movie. Like,
But if you wouldn't have read the comics, would you have the same opinion?
no, because I wouldn't know. I wouldn't
yeah,
know.
you wouldn't know.
Yeah, but I'm glad I do know. But
So I haven't read the comics.
yeah.
And I think the movie's okay.
Right, but I'm just telling you that because all right. So from the movies, actually no, I wouldn't have. I would have not liked this scene,
Sure.
but I wouldn't have known any better because I wouldn't have known the alternate.
Gotcha.
But so the origin of El Diablo, the whole thing of when he gets angry at his house and like burns it down, was kind of weird. Did you think that was weird?
No.
He seemed to like kind of go short fused over nothing, lose his temper, burn his house down, and then when they showed his wife, she wasn't burnt up at all, but she was dead. How did she die?
Suffocation, maybe? I don't know.
Of smoke?
Smoke.
It was weird. It was just a weird scene. It was very oddly executed.
Well, he said, once I rage, I can't control it.
Right.
And so
But
then
when they
he
showed his
raged.
rage, it was kind of cheesy.
Okay.
It was,
I think most of this movie is cheesy, but that's just the nature of these movies.
well, this movie in particular was cheesy.
Okay, well, I think most of them
Just seeing that. So in your argument, if I wouldn't have known anything about the comics, I would have felt like that was a weird scene.
are. Okay.
But now that I know the comics, I'm going to share this bit with you.
Ah, nice.
What happens to him is that he doesn't kill his own family. He goes to do a hit on another, because he is he's part of a gang, and he goes to do a hit on another opposing gang member's house.
And he kills his family?
And he kills his family, but he burns the house down, but he doesn't know the guy's family's in there.
Oh, that
and so then
sucks.
when he goes in there and to see what the damage he's done, there's little kids that are like burnt up in there.
Dang.
And so once he sees that image of like, I didn't just hurt this other gang member that I was going after, I killed his family and like innocent people, it hits him and he's turns himself in to the police. He goes and turns himself in because he's so ashamed of what he's done. So wouldn't you have felt like that scene would have been a lot more, made more sense about the character? You would have been like, oh, wow.
I mean, I think they're pulling at your heartstrings either way. I think him killing his own family resonates more with villains than.
Right.
So in that scene, the comic book is trying to get you, it is pulling at your heartstring. In the movie, they're trying to pull at the heartstrings of the villains.
In the movie, they actually
And make it a little bit more believable to the villains. Like the villains can't believe you'd kill your own family. They're like, wow, that is awful. Versus killing the family of another one, they would probably like, whatever.
But I think that's what would separate El Diablo from the other villains is that he was brought up amongst gang violence, and he had a power which separated him from everybody else. And so instead of people that just kind of turned to being a villain and doing evil because they loved it, he was more so doing it to survive on the streets and take care of his own family. So when they showed the scene of him losing his cool and just getting mad at his family and like, I think he hit his girlfriend or something, like it was just kind of weird.
Okay, well,
I
think that's a weird moment to pick out because I don't think either one really pulls more at the heartstrings.
Yeah, I prefer.
I think the backstory is cooler,
Yeah.
but I don't think they have time to flesh that out in this movie.
Yeah, and so also I didn't like. So we're on El Diablo. I also didn't like when he turned into the giant.
So that doesn't happen in the comics?
I don't know if it does. It might,
Okay.
but it was kind of weird. I was
just like, oh, okay. This
he
is
went
next
like
level.
he went to
essay.
like Transformer mode and turned
Right.
into Megatron and.
I wasn't really expecting it. I was like, oh, okay. It would have been neat to see something like that previous in the movie.
Yeah.
To
Did
kind
you,
of
did you notice that Scott Eastwood was in the movie?
Scott Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood's son.
Nah.
So before we saw the movie, there was an interview in I think GQ with Scott Eastwood about him being in the movie.
Who was he?
I don't know. I saw him at one scene. He was like an extra. He was some dude under flag.
Huh.
Isn't that weird? He was one of the troops that was with them.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So I think we've gone on most of the characters.
Yeah. I think we didn't talk about the villain, Enchantress.
Yeah.
What do you think about her?
My opinion was that I was trying to understand it all. And I guess Enchantress, regardless of whether or not what's her name tries to put the Suicide Squad together, I think
Waller.
Yeah, Waller. So regardless of the Suicide Squad, I think she was still going to get away, I guess, right?
I think so. I think the way that
I
they
didn't really get how like she could control her and then she can't control her. They
Yeah.
just like flip that switch and kind of just expected us to say, "Oops,
Right.
she can't do it anymore."
It was weird that she made the point like if she ever gets her heart back, we're not gonna be able to stop her, and she does get her heart back,
and they still stop her.
and so
They come together.
they come together, people with baseball bats and
Clubs,
guns, and then
cool eyepieces.
boomerangs. They're able to defeat this magical ancient being who's lived forever that now has her all-powerful heart, and she's unstoppable.
Well, you're making it a little bit unbelievable. I think that's how most of them are. But I didn't really get how like she could control her, and then she couldn't control her, and I just didn't understand.
I also didn't.
How did they miss the piece about her having a brother? How did Waller miss that piece?
I don't know.
They did all this research on
Yeah.
her, and they're like,
It was
"Oh crap, she's got a brother."
some archaeologist that
They just hide that
Dr.
fact?
June was.
Let's just skip that in the file.
She didn't even know all about the person she was.
She didn't
looking
get a chance to. She was enchanted.
Well, before that, when she went into that ruin to look for that stuff.
Yeah, I don't really see how they missed the part about her having a brother. That's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
It's like I didn't really.
And it
understand
happened that Waller had that other vase that he was in, and they just never assumed to. Maybe we should see what this is. We're just carrying this other object around with us. But so Enchantress creates this weapon, which is like a giant storm, but we never really get to see her use it.
Yeah, looks like a big bug zapper.
Yeah, and it just kind of she just keeps forming it, saying that she's going to destroy the world with it, but it doesn't really go anywhere.
Right. Well, you saw her like using it to
create the
turning
humans.
She turned a big aircraft carrier in half.
Yeah. Okay.
So that whole part of it, I just kind of had to suspend my belief.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really get how they got to that point. But
what did you think of her minions that she was making?
it reminded me. So for those of you who've seen Galaxy Quest, have you seen Galaxy Quest?
Love that movie.
The green guys on there that are the main opposition to Tim Allen and his ragtag crew. That's what that reminded me of. For some reason, like their heads kind of reminded me of that, and their green bodies. They reminded me of those guys.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of weird.
Did you think it was weird how they said, like, going into the fight, they made it very clear that Waller said, we've tried to kill him and we can't stop him. You got to go around him. And then they end up killing them all. She's like, yeah, headshots don't work. And they kill him with headshots.
Well, yeah, duh. Because it's Deadshot and the Suicide Squad.
Only their headshots work.
Yeah, I mean, she formed this team in order to beat those type of people.
No other bullets work, just Deadshot's bullets and baseball bats. That
you kind of have to suspend your disbelief there.
So you're basically saying you can enjoy this movie if you throw out all logic.
That's what these movies are.
No.
Yes. Oh my! You have to be able. That's why any type of fantasy movie or comic book movie,
I'm not
you have
saying
to suspend
the world.
your disbelief.
Though of course, the world is in a world that we can't understand. But I'm saying the storytelling, the logic of the storytelling, makes no sense.
Batman being able to go into a room of 30 people and take them all out and save someone—that's pretty unbelievable.
No.
But we believe it.
No. Now, if you said if Superman told Batman before he went into the room, hey, all these people you're about to fight are all have the same powers as I do, you won't be able to beat them. And then Batman goes in there and beats them all.
Well, that's not what was said. If Superman, you're messing it up here.
No.
If Superman said, "There's no way you can take those guys out all by yourself," and Batman goes in and does it. That's
if Superman said, "Hey, you can't beat these guys with punching and kicking them,"
I can't believe we're having this conversation.
If he said you can't beat these guys with fighting them with punching and kicking because we've already tried that, and then he goes in there and punches them out and knocks them out,
sure,
like that doesn't make any sense. He just said you can't do that. It'd be the same thing.
Yeah, but I mean, Superman isn't like infallible.
You want to like this movie. That's your problem.
No,
you're making up every reason to like this movie.
You're making up every reason to hate this movie.
No, I'm telling you. I'm giving you what the facts are. You're telling me just to throw all that out and just say, well, it's just a good movie.
It's not a good movie. I said it was average.
You said throw out your logic. Don't think that it makes any sense.
You
Ignore
have
that.
to. Okay, I can't watch Star Wars without suspending my belief. Like you can't watch those movies.
Of course, I mean that stuff doesn't happen in reality, but
I'm saying
Star
the
Wars
same applies
is cohesive. Star Wars makes sense. Star Wars, they don't go to destroy the Death Star, and then when they before they destroy
They
it.
just find a hole
No, it'd be like
every time.
it'd be like if Star Wars said 1 minute that the Force is all around us and then can do things, and then in the next movie it says that the Force is actually made up of metachlorians. Oh wait, that did happen.
Okay. And that's just, you just have to kind of suspend. I don't want
No,
to.
it's bad filmmaking. This is what it comes down to. It's bad filmmaking, bad
Okay.
writing, bad directing. Doesn't make any sense.
Okay. I think we've outlined quite a few ways that this movie is.
And then
Just
one
okay.
more thing. What makes the Suicide Squad, and what makes it so interesting was that it was a group of these villains that is run by one normal person who's there to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to, Flag. So why in the movie do they create this team if they're also just going to send a bunch of troops in with them? A whole group of troops. You know what?
A support role? I don't know.
They don't need them. That's the point, is that they need to keep...
Why do the Avengers have a
No, but I'm saying...
carrier? Why do they have
No,
Samuel
you're,
Jackson?
that hasn't... The Avengers never said we're a group of guys who are going to go in so we can take the fall, so no humans or no government agencies have to.
Right. Oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
That was
I see what you're
That was
saying.
Waller's whole point, but yet she still sends troops in there who, if any of those guys' bodies are found around there, they're going to be like, hey, why are these U.S. soldiers' bodies here? Why are these Navy SEALs?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The whole movie
that's
was
that's
a
good point.
contradiction of itself.
I think that a lot of the hate for this movie is unjustified. That's why I'm opposing you so much. I think you're a bit off base when critiquing this movie. I'm saying I don't know why you hate this movie so much more than like anything else.
I wish I liked this movie. I really wanted to like it.
Yeah, I wanted to like it too, and I didn't really care for it.
One thing we didn't talk about really, I think we need to talk about before we end this, is the Joker. What did you think about the Joker?
There wasn't really much to think about. He wasn't really in it.
He wasn't really in it as much as it was advertised, but what we did see, what did you think about him?
It was a different take. A lot of people say that it's Jack Nicklaus. That's who it is, right?
Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson. Sorry, I always get him and the golfer mixed up for some reason. Jack Nicholson. I don't really have any type of affinity towards Jack Nicholson's Joker.
Yeah.
I guess it was pretty good. Heath Ledger's was obviously otherworldly. It was great. Probably what might have tipped him. And Jared Leto's Joker, I thought it was different. I didn't really hate it. I mean, it was all right. It was just different. What I hated about this movie, one of the things I hated about this movie was the relationship between Joker and Harley Quinn. It's more of a abusive relationship and manipulative relationship. And they didn't show that in this movie, which I think, I mean, I don't think those relationships are great. I don't think they should be glorified in any way, but I thought they had a real opportunity to show Harley Quinn overcoming something like that, which I think would have been really cool to see a different spin on something like that. Overcoming, like constantly being abused, constantly being manipulative, or manipulated, and her overcoming something like that against the Joker. But they didn't. They just didn't address it at all. And they just showed a loving relationship, which I think was weird.
They showed that the Joker loved her. Which
Yeah,
was weird.
like really loved her. And
Yeah, because it was more so one-sided.
Joker never
where
comes back for Harley, ever.
It's always been the kind of like the Joker just kind of uses Harley,
right.
and she's always been infatuated with him, and he just abuses her and uses her. And in this movie, we see that the Joker's almost really in love with her. You know.
Right. And he always comes back. And it just
Did you like the whole text message part where he was texting her on the secret phone?
that was weird.
That was cheesy,
That
kind
was
of.
so weird.
And he had the little emoji of like the Joker face on there. I was
Right.
like,
Like, who
kinda
you
cringe.
texting?
cringeworthy.
I'm like, okay, I don't really get that.
Yeah.
That's how they decided to. But I would have liked some of Joker's men being on the inside.
Yeah, I liked his group of, I don't know what you'd call him, his crew that he
Yeah.
rang around. They had
Yeah.
like the like suits and stuff on. One of them had like an eyeball head.
Mm-hmm.
I think another one had some kind of animal What are those?
Panda?
Yeah, something like Panda Head or something. Yeah.
So I really thought they had a good opportunity to show Harley Quinn overcoming an abusive and standing out on her own,
Mm-hmm.
but instead, I guess they just decided to show a loving relationship, which is, I mean, I guess is okay, but like that's not how it is.
Yeah, it's kind of dumb. And I didn't like how the Joker looked either.
Yeah, it was a little strange.
He didn't look scary to me at all.
Like it was a cross between
he looked annoying. Like
Ledger and Nicholson's Joker. Like, wasn't Nicholson's Joker a little bit more put together?
well, one of the things with all the Jokers is that the smile has always been exaggerated, right?
Right.
To show, that's kind of his iconic look. Is like a big.
Right.
So Jack Nicholson's Joker, he had a surgeon do plastic surgery on his face and make his face kind of look like that.
Mm-hmm.
His face got damaged in an accident, and so then Heath Ledger's Joker, we don't really know what happened to his face, but there's scars going up his face, and he paints lipstick
legit.
on that to kind of
So legit.
yeah, and so it looks really creepy. And this one, it just looked like a dude with lipstick on normal lips. It just looked
It wasn't exaggerated at all?
no, like there was no like big smile really.
Didn't even paint a smile on or anything?
nothing like that. No.
Oh, that's weird.
But he did have the smile on his hand. Did you like how he would put it on people's faces?
I guess. It's
kinda weird.
I guess.
I didn't like the grill. Did you like the grill on his teeth too?
No, didn't.
I actually read somewhere later that the director meant. I guess there's a backstory to that. The director. There's a backstory of how Joker got in a fight with Batman and Batman knocked his teeth out or something. That's why he had to wear the. Would have been nice if they would have explained that in the movie.
Yeah, put that in there. All in all, didn't really care for the movie. I thought it was average. So
That it was
Yeah.
average, or you liked it, or what?
I thought it was average.
I hated it.
I know you did. I'm sorry.
One more part I want to talk about. I just
Oh,
remember
man. I just wanted
talking about the special effects. Do you remember the scene where they're watching the camera footage of El Diablo like burning the entire, like he kills all the inmates?
I don't. No,
He does like a blast of fire. They show it twice. It looks so.
Oh yeah, he's in a.
It looks
prison.
so bad.
I can hardly remember it, but I don't remember being.
That was the really bad special effects part. I remember.
I thought the first copter. There were 3 copter crashes in here. I think probably 3 too many.
Yeah.
The first one looked really bad when the Suicide Squad fell. I thought
Yeah.
the chopper looked a little fake when it first fell. The first one.
The whole add-on too of like the bright colors and logos of like the suit. It's kind of anime feeling too. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. I didn't really notice that, but I did notice that the there were 3 every climax, like the Suicide Squad going in, boom, chopper crashes. Oh, they're okay. Waller tries to get away, chopper crash. Harley tries to get away, chopper crash. And so I was kind of expecting a chopper to crash through and kill the villain, like Wicked Witch of the West style. But yeah, I didn't really the special effects. I didn't really like some of the fight scenes. Thought those were kind of lame. So
Yeah.
but all in all, to me there were some good things. It was some fun things. An average movie.
Average, terrible movie.
For a terrible movie, very average.
For an average movie, no. For a terrible movie, average. Yeah, I would agree with that. Pretty bad. So all in all, don't go watch it. In fact, avoid it at all costs.
If you wanted to go see it before, I don't think you'll be as disappointed as Joe.
Yeah,
There was a lot of people disappointed though, so it's a risk. There's been a couple occasions where I feel like I've wasted my money in the theaters. One of them was the Campaign. Oddly enough, most of them are comedies. Campaign with Zach Galifianakis and Will Ferrell. It was awful. That was like a 2. And then Year One, I walked out of. I feel like I wasted my money on that one. And I think those are like the only 2 where I feel like I wasted. I usually go and see decent movies in theaters. I did see Ghostbusters, so that was kind of meh.
I feel like this was way worse than Ghostbusters.
I thought it was on par.
But with year one, yeah, I would say it was around there with me. Year one.
Okay. All right.
So-
If you have got to this point and listened to our most of our spoilered review, we thank you. We love you, and we
Go give us
appreciate you.
Rating
for-
and review on iTunes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is this where? Yeah. That's where I was going to say that. I
Oh,
was
you
gonna
were? Oh, I didn't know.
say, we appreciate you
I thought you
downloading
were going
the
to forget
episode,
that. Okay.
and we want you to rate and review us when you get the chance. We only have 11 or 12 maybe reviews on iTunes, right?
I think we have like around 12. Yeah.
And we have a lot more downloads. So those of you who are downloading and not reviewing,
It's a lot
we
of
thank
you.
you. we thank you for downloading, but also some homework. Go review us and rate us, please. We appreciate it. And share us on Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah. And that's it for this episode.
Peace out.
See you later.
Two men
Talking movies.
Welcome to Two Men Talking Movies. Another episode of. How do we usually open? Welcome to another episode of Two Men Talking Movies, right? All right, here we
Welcome
go.
to the
No, we'll start over, right?